Can we stay forever laying in this bed? Log off and leave the world on red. You're the one and only, the one I want beside me. 'Cause mornings like these are my favorite kind. Waking next to you with our legs entwined. Well, no one does it better. Can you stay forever? Wrapped up together, two birds of a feather. Stay all day, stay awake. I need more of your body here. Let's forget our job, forget our chores. We'll stay in the moment, 'cause that's what moments are for. Stay in line with me. Well, let's go diving in these sheets. When you curl up next to me, you're the perfect puzzle piece. Stay all day, stay awake. I need more of your body here. Let's forget our job, forget our chores. We'll stay in the moment, 'cause that's what moments are for. Stay in line with me. 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 I rode the train back up to New York, then station downtown to Brooklyn. I was feeling fine till it crossed the state line, and I felt your soul in the city. Although you moved to start over, came by to see that the dust won't settle. 'Cause it's a hazy view on St. Mark's Avenue. Now that it's not your home, I'm trying hard to remember, trying hard to forget how to be in this city of deja vu and not see a ghost of you. just need time. Well, I tried to dance and believe in romance, but you knew you would waltz away. I'm trying hard to remember, trying hard to forget how to be in this city of deja vu, and not see a ghost of you. Did you even want to, or was it too much too soon? Trying hard to remember, trying hard to forget how to be in this city of deja vu, not see it goes to you. Hey, Mr. Hollywood Boulevard, rolling your dice, hoping they'll get far, lighting up like a firework with no concern for who you scar. Oh yeah, you think it's all about you. You know it all, but don't have a clue. But all you continue to prove is you're your own fool. You fool. Gave the benefit of doubt, hoping maybe we could work it out. But it's hard when only one of us cares what's coming from their mouth. Oh yeah, you think it's all about you. You know it all, but don't have a clue. But all you continue to prove is you're your own fool. Has no one taught you? Have you not heard? You're only ever as good as your words. So learn the lesson of the golden rule. Or are you too cool? You fool. You fool. Oh, you think it's all about you. You know it all, but don't have a clue. But all you continue to prove is you're your own fool. You fool.
Welcome back to the Sounds of Nashville Podcast. I'm here with Bryan Wood.
Hi.
Thanks for coming out, man.
Dude, thanks for having us. Everyone. Me, the band. It's all thanks to you.
Hey, it was a pleasure listening to you guys. It was a fun show, man. So, what do you have going on this year? Like album releases, EP?
I'm taking it kind of every day, taking it fresh. My goal is to put a bunch of songs on YouTube in what I'm calling shed sessions. Getting better at saying that, shed sessions. And basically it's just a place where I'll, in my studio, which is a shed, putting down an acoustic version of the song. And it's basically it's a place to really just document the song. I'm not too worried about, I'm becoming more aware of like trying to have the songs match the whole kind of project. But this is just literally a place to put songs that are done and almost like motivate the song being done. It's an easy, quick upload to YouTube. I can finish it, upload it, and then even if it's for my own sort of just reference that song and then get some feedback on it and then take it to, a band or into the studio and take the next steps. I do have some songs ready to be like produced and like, just need some drums or like the vocals to be finished or something for like a full production thing that'll be like, Spotify and some releases that way. So probably we'll release one or two of those, but that's not really the goal. The goal is to write a bunch of songs, hold myself accountable to posting it like as finishing them and then putting it on the Shed Session playlist of YouTube, and it's just like there it is. And if one gets more attention than the others, then I can know where to focus there. Or that's not really the point though, it's just to kind of here it is, and then people can kind of see me develop as a songwriter in real time over the course of a year, 2, 3 years.
Yeah. So that's the main push is everybody check out Bryan Wood on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. YouTube is what it's going to be. Yeah, that's just seems like the easiest. I think it's also like a little bit of I could like if I could like vet it and like take down the stuff that maybe I don't resonate with anymore, and like it's a little bit with one push of a button, it's like up or down. I have control of it. Where like if you release something on Spotify or the DSPs, it takes a little bit to take them down. It costs money to have them up and take. What I mean? It's just like a free. My whole sort of like philosophy for this year is just take a little bit of the pressure off and work with other people. That's why this was like a really good situation. When you asked me to do this, I was like, this is literally what I'm trying to do. It's like, if with this new song that we played, I've never played it with anybody. I just made a demo. I made a demo really just to show the person who him and I were mutually like, who the song's about, we were mutually like, in agreement of or whatever. I made the demo just to send him to be like, hey, I wrote a song about this situation, and that's it. Like I'd never really planned. And then I was like, okay, I have this opportunity to be in a room with a bunch of great musicians. Like, let's see what happens, And I mean, we just finished with it, and my heart's still racing. So it's good, I think.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Thanks, man.
That's my first time hearing it. I don't think you've played it at an artist.
No, dude, I've never played that with a band until the 2 times we just did.
Awesome.
So yeah, that was cool.
So what got you into music?
Originally, music in general is just like I'm a pretty, I guess, emotional person in the sense of like, my friends used to call me Emotional B, because I was like just like kind of in tune with my emotions and stuff like that. And music is a soundtrack to your emotion. Like that's, music's the drug you take when you want to feel a certain way or a different way. So I guess in that respect, I've always gravitated towards music. But then playing music I had like a big camping crew, where my family would like camp with a bunch of other like 7 other families when I was like through elementary school all the way through high school. Every summer we'd go on like 10 camping trips, and one of the other kids there played guitar. He's a little older too, so I was like the young kid trying to be like hang out, and he played guitar, and I remember like just being captivated by the guitar like taking over the campfire, and like everybody singing songs, and like the whole just the way that one simple thing could change the whole dynamic of the fire ring pit, everybody hanging out. And it was awesome. Like, we were just making up songs, and it was just like, whoa. And that was where like I want to play guitar. And then once I started learning it, I was pretty young, and from what my parents tell me, I didn't really love it at the beginning, because like it was like scales and getting your muscle memory. But once it came to the point where like I could play songs, and like I remember I remember one summer my mom was like concerned with me because I didn't go outside, and she was like, "Are you all right? Like, I want you to go to summer camp or something." Like, because I was just learning songs every day. I remember my bedroom floor just littered with paper from printing out tabs off of, guitartab.com, and just learning every like classic rock song that like guitar wise I could learn. So once I caught that bug of like, oh, like I hear a song and then like now recreate it. It was like just all downhill. And then I started learning writing songs, it, just melodies and create like I used to call them Kurt Cobain lyrics because I mean this is like I'm talking fifth grade, you know what I mean? And we're like I didn't really understand Nirvana songs back then, but I would just write lyrics that were like sounds like Nirvana, and so I would just like I had no idea what the song's about, but like it's my song, you know what I mean? And then I got a band in middle school, and then those songs more and more refined because now you have people in the room that like you bring a song and they're like, whoa, that's sick, or they're like, okay, that's all right. You kind of start to learn how to sculpt your sound a little bit, you know what I mean? And then from there, just kind of kept going.
So when you write a song, is it usually starting on a guitar or like what starting most of the time? Vocals, melody, or all over the map?
If it's not an idea, like a conceptual sort of like somebody says something and you're like, that's an intriguing thought, and you want to like maybe dive into it. That's a rare occasion that'll happen, and that usually means a good song's gonna happen. Not always, because sometimes it's hard to get a concept into a melody. Sometimes, like it feels a little too storybook to me, at least, where I'm like I feel like I'm forcing the melody. But 9 times out of 10, a song starts for me. It starts with picking up a guitar, and for whatever reason, finding chords that for whatever reason just sound different are resonating with me in a different way. I mean, they're chords that I've played all the time. They're not like special chords, but just the way you're playing it, the tempo, whatever it is, and you're just like kind of catch a little bit of a spark or something, and then it'll go from those chords to maybe finding 2 separate chord progressions that go together that kind of match it doesn't kill the spark, you know what I mean? And you weld those together. And then it'll go and it'll just be scatting random vowel sounds and just then at that point you take out the voice memo and you just start like ad-libbing whatever you find, and then usually you'll find on at least a phrase or like some sort of grouping of syllables that like matches what you're doing, and then you can maybe you kind of match with, okay, what is this feeling that the chord's giving me, what are the lyrics, like what's the little seed that's growing of lyrically what's happening. And then once you're there, then it becomes like the homework aspect of writing a song. And a lot of songs most songs stop there with just a verse and half a chorus. For whatever reason, it just, it dies, or a wrong decision is made, or it just goes on the shelf, comes back out later. But at that point, it becomes a homework thing of like, let's sit down and let's put the puzzle pieces together and like, let's craft what we're trying to say. That's a big thing I'm doing now. It's like, I don't really care about rhyming so much anymore. What am I trying to say to the listener? And then you could figure out a way to make it rhyme or mid-rhyme or, shape your vowel a little different. You could figure, rhyming is, for lack of a better, rhyming is the easy part. It's figuring out what the heck you're trying to say. Mm-hmm. That's like the important part, or the part that I think gives your staple of like, oh, this sounds like a, this person's song, or not even just as an artist, but like songwriters in general, like, an Ashley Gorley song. You listen, you're like, man, that sounds like and you look and you're like, oh, yeah, he's on the song, It makes sense. It's like, whether it's the phrasing or just like the frame of mind they bring you into of like, well, this is something you've always seen and like breakups, yeah, but like what about viewing it from this lens or like this direction, you know what I mean? That's the part that becomes homework and like sitting down and writing the song, you know what I mean, from that little seed.
What's your favorite song lyric that you've written?
There was a Chris Stapleton lyric that I wanted to say, I had an answer for.
We can do both.
I'll do both. So for me, I guess, has no one taught you, have you not heard, you're only ever as good as your word? The rest of it. So take the lesson, golden rule, or are you too cool? But just that line, you're only ever as good as your word, is kind of interesting because it like doesn't, there's no like mid rhyme. It's not like turn of phrasey or anything. It's just like it's like a good, like if you teach kids that, you know what I mean? Like it's a good sort of lesson. And then the Chris Stapleton lyric is, nobody wins afraid of losing. The hard roads are the ones worth choosing, which is way better than my lyric.
No, I really like your lyric.
Thanks, man.
So I always like stuff that's almost rhymes too. So
Yeah.
good and word.
Yeah.
Where there's a little bit of that there.
Oh, true. Yeah, good
And
and word. Okay.
so-
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I always like those kind of lines where you have something where if you write it out and you're like, yeah, those two words don't rhyme, but depending on how you say them in context, like, and especially in the song, it just flows correctly, and it's a coherent thought that works, and because it makes sense, the story you're telling and the line, it feels like it rhymes even if it's not a true rhyme.
Yeah. And you could kind of shape your like you could good and word, like you could kind of stretch word out, and just to make it a little bit, which is, I mean, Arctic Monkeys is one of my favorite bands, and Alex Turner's songwriting wise, and some of his rhymes it works so well because of his accent and like just phrases that are only of where he's from, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that just makes it cool, makes it unique, it makes it his song, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Any things that you would tell new songwriters or people new to Nashville getting into the music scene? Anything you want to tell the audience? That's a lot of things, so you can take your time to
I mean, I'm pretty
answer each
new
individually too, if you want.
I'm pretty new in the Nashville scene. I think in any scene, like, you just gotta be a nice person, and like, you're not gonna get along with everybody. You're not gonna vibe with everybody. That's not the point, because I don't want to really work with anybody I don't vibe with anyway, especially in a creative endeavor like songwriting. Like, if I don't trust you on some level, I'm not going to tell you about, the last breakup I had, or some kind of very specific detail about it, even if I don't say it directly, but like in a line that I say. Like, if I give you a lyric, it's kind of implied like I might have been through some of this, you know what I mean? So if I don't, there's got to be some mutual like respect level that is present for just to be in a comfortable room and create a good environment, to be vulnerable, to figure out what am I trying to say, you know what I mean? Or how do I want to say what I'm trying to say? And then I guess for anybody who's new to songwriting, I would just write a bunch of shitty songs, or write a bunch of not so good songs, because you got to get through them. I mean, I'm doing that right now, where like over the holiday break, I didn't really write that much. I wrote a couple like where I woke up and it was like in my head and just wrote it down. I don't necessarily think they're good or whatever. But right now I'm getting like just kind of pushing through to like, no, I don't like this lyric, but we're going to keep it and let's keep going. Let's finish the song. Let's spend the time to kind of flush the tubes a little bit. And listening back, like on my ride home last night, I was like, oh, this melody would be better. And it is a muscle, and you have to work it out. You might be a prodigy and like write your first song, be a number one hit and everybody loves it. That rhymed. But it's probably not, and honestly, it wouldn't be a good thing. It's like when if you go to the casino and the first thing you do is win big, like, you're that good job, but now you're hooked, like, and you're never going to get that high again. You know what I mean? So like, there's something to be said about grinding through the mud to find, the diamond. You know what I mean? That thing is so much more special. And you know how to dig through the mud now to get more diamonds. You know what I mean? Like, you know how to write through the crappy songs or find that one little piece of it. It's like, man, that chorus is really good. Maybe that's just the verse of the next song I'm going to write. And then you start from that frame. You know what I mean? Like, don't get discouraged, because you're going to write crappy songs. So do that and then keep on going. Like I said, I'm doing it right now just because I haven't written in a little while, and it's not, it's just not there. You know what I mean? So just keep on, put the homework in, and it's to me, it's kind of like a puzzle. Like you find that little gem, you find the North Star, and just keep heading towards it.
Yeah. Well, that's great because you can always rewrite what you've written, but if you don't write it down, you don't record it, then there's nothing to go back to change. Once oh yeah. I could have turned that phrase, and it's a great song.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, for sure. And then even like you might think it's not good, but it is. You know what I mean? Like especially I write mostly solo. Since being in town here in Nashville, I've started to dabble with co-writing, but even then I'm very specific of like the vibe and just like it's not, respect is a little bit of a harsh word, but more in the sense of like, are we both like, the goal is to write the best song you've ever written. So like, are we both trying to do that right now? Or are we just phoning it in? Are we kind of just like, are we challenging each other? Are you afraid? Am I afraid to say, I don't like that idea to you because I think it'll ruin the vibe? Or do I think you are afraid to say it to me? You know what I mean? Or if you say that's a good idea, like, are you just saying that so the session's over and you can go, to the bar or something? Like, so that's why I'm a little particular, like I said, especially coming from a place where I'm mostly solo, right? You're very in your head and like you write everything down because you're almost like, I'll have sometimes a piece of paper that's like the just random ideas, and then the paper that's like the song. You just like are pulling from the idea sheet, and like on this paper is just like a bunch of very kind of personal things. You like burn the piece of paper afterwards, you know what I mean? But then now to do that with somebody, I need to find, or I have found a few people that have, reciprocated that level of like, oh, okay, we're here to do this, and it just flows nicely, you know what I mean? It could be, not to say you do one time and it's like, oh, forget this guy. I'm sure there's cases where that's true, but like, could be me. I could be like off and not really flowing that day, and it just didn't work because I'm, I was closed off for whatever reason, or they were. It was a bad day. They were sick. I was just, whatever it is. But yeah, I kind of forget your question.
Yeah. Great thing about Bryan is you are going out to artist night all the time, and I've seen Bryan's helping the band pack up at the end of the night.
Wow,
so these little things that helps you to build community with other musicians, and people see that and respect that.
It's about the hang, bro. Like you have to be good, no doubt. But even if you're like not that good and you're like a fun to be around, you'll still be in the room, and maybe you'll catch something of. It'll rub off on you if you're in the room with really good people in the sense of like skill level, songwriting or whatever. It'll rub off on you, but you're there because you kind of have. There's a very like kind of read the room situation, especially with things like songwriting, because it's an intangible product that like you can't put your name on it like like you do the leftovers in the fridge. You know what I mean? Like it's its own. You're grabbing at it. But yeah, dude, stay late. Help. Give more than you take for sure, and then you become known as that person who, when you're around, things happen. Things, whether it's my loadout is easier, or I get a laugh, or you're just nice, buy me a beer or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, or soda, whatever it is, and that, it sounds counterintuitive. And I mean, that's just a philosophy in life too, is give more than you take and you're going to get more. Like, for sure. That's just kind of how it works.
All right. Well, Bryan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thanks for having me. You're the man.
Thanks, everybody, for listening.